In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics.
Let's go.
The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics.
What do you say we hop right into things? Welcome back to the show, everybody. I appreciate you for joining me once again for a Sunday episode of the Blunt Politics Podcast. I'm Boston Brian. I shall be your host for today and for the foreseeable future because that's all that runs this is me. So that's it. That's all you got. So what's going on, Chad? How's everybody doing? How are you today? What's up, Nola? What's up, Mozart? What's up, Roxanne? Thank you to all the mods, as usual, on all of the different platforms. Thank you to everybody that shares the show out. It makes everybody aware that we are indeed live right now on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. So thank you to everybody watching on those respective platforms. I do appreciate you, as always. Evie's aunt, everybody on Twitch, thank you for the bits and thank you for the trains, whatever they're called over there. I really do appreciate you. I think it's a hype train. That's what it's called. I knew that. I was just testing you. I was. What's up, Gamer? What's up, Etch? What's up, JJ? What's going on, brother? There she is. What's up, Tanya? What's up, Tiff? What's up, everybody? What's up, Jen? What's up, Yakov? Appreciate you guys. Really do. All right, lots to get into today, as always. It's, you know what? It's damn near impossible nowadays to kind of put together a coherent show. Like, I try my best to try to, like, tie everything together and, you know, make it all kind of, you know, make sense and fit together and, you know, make it all, you know, boil down to a certain topic. It's difficult now with everything that's going on in the world, whether it's domestically, whether it's abroad, whether it's with wars, whether it's with Epstein, whether it's with ICE, whether it's with the economy. I mean, you name it, there's just so many different aspects of horrors and atrocities going on right now to speak about. But, you know, we're going to try to do our best today. Again, as I keep saying in the last few shows, we're going to be all over the place. We're going to try to cover as much as possible. We're going to try to keep everybody as informed as possible. So please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. The only thing that I could really like label today's show as, or basically any show moving forward, is just the word accountability. Right? Just accountability, whether it's for the Russians, whether it's for the Epstein administration, you know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, whether it's for any of the aspects of the world right now that we see going wrong, we want accountability. We want justice. So that's kind of the trend today. That's going to be the through line because we have a shitload to talk about, and it's, you know, it gets dark. It really does, because yesterday, let me bring these on the screen, put these on the screen for you guys. Yesterday, as you remember, I mean, we brought up the TMZ video referencing designer babies and cloning of babies in 2018 being spoken about with Jeffrey Epstein. So don't think that we've hit the bottom of the barrel here. Don't think that we've hit the floor as far as the depravity and sickening things that we're going to find out as this is concerned. But a lot of the other things that we're going to be diving into today are going to, you know, pertain to that. The Justice Department cover-up, the ongoing Trump cover-up from that. The DOJ has now continued to try to muddy the waters by sending over basically a 6-page letter that also includes all the list of all government officials and politically exposed persons in the files. You know what I mean? We'll get into that, but we'll be covering that aspect as well. I love this as Alex Jones gets sniped by community notes on Twitter, which is just absolutely hilarious to see. What else we got? We got the Trump administration losing their mind as the fake. This is a Midas Touch video. Let me throw this on the screen. This is a Midas Touch video covering the list that the DOJ sent over. So a little bit more on that as well. And then for some reason, I just have to say, it sounds to me and it seems to me like Thomas Massey is a follower of my Blue Sky page, We'll get into that a little bit further on in the show as well. But I do have some pretty substantial evidence to suggest that Thomas Massie follows my blue sky. We'll also be getting into Marjorie Taylor Greene's latest comments referencing the Epstein files and the ongoing cover-up by President Trump. Some of the, the words and the threats that Trump, kind of gave to her as far as, whether or not she would take her name off the petition or not. So MTG kind of spilling the beans, not only on with, I believe that asshole's name is Owen Schroyer, but she was also on with Tommy Lahren. So we'll be diving into a couple clips of that. There's a BBC documentary that is now making its way back around the social media front. This is Trump is the President, a Sex Pest by the BBC. This was posted 7 years ago. I don't know the exact date of when this was released, but I'm sure they might say it in there. I wanted to kind of dive into it, a little bit of it with you guys. But again, more evidence to suggest that everybody should have known. And again, not us. We obviously have been calling this out for a while, but people on the right, people still defending this shit. There were fucking breadcrumbs for you people to see what was coming, right? Well before Donald Trump even was involved in politics. And again, this goes to show one reason as why Donald Trump might have his $1 billion or several $1 billion lawsuit against BBC, right? Now it starts to make sense now when you think about some of the reporting that they've done. We also have this CoffeeZilla video that we still haven't made our way through, depicting, again, the ongoing cover-up and how the Trump administration, the Epstein administration, I should say, is not taking this seriously and is basically just laughing in the faces of everybody, having released what we know so far and doing absolutely nothing about it. So we'll be getting into that. Obviously, we'll be speaking about the recent Israeli strikes that killed 12 plus in Gaza. And then we'll be moving on to a couple stories related to Ukraine as usual, where we got Ramzan Kadyrov is pretty much on death's door and what that might mean for Vladimir Putin in the power struggle to come when he finally kicks the bucket. And then we got some live action of an A1 Abrams in Pokrovsk in action that I thought it would be pretty cool to dive into. United 24 released this morning. So again, just a little bit of insight on what takes place and how the maneuvers work and what it looks like on the front lines when these type of, this type of equipment gets into action, and just how not good the Russians did in this. So we'll be diving into all of that stuff and more. But the first thing I kind of want to cover today is this, and we're just going to just briefly talk about this. This is not Dem bashing by any stretch of the imagination. This is nothing against any of the work that Jamie Raskin has done recently, especially involving Pam Bondi and her testimony. But I just feel like this is a really shitty answer to this question. Knowing what we know so far, knowing what we know from the first Trump administration, knowing what we know coming out of the Epstein files, and then knowing what we know coming from the public and what they want to see as far as action, as far as accountability and justice. I'm not really satisfied to any stretch of the imagination by this. Jamie Raskin was on with Legal Eagle. I believe this was the day after the Pam Bondi disaster in front of the House Judiciary Committee. But yeah, this is the very end of it. Again, we're not going to play too much of this. This is the very end where he's asked by Legal Eagle, basically, what can the Democrats expect? What can the people expect from Democrats? Say we take back power in the House. Say we take back power in the Senate. What type of actions can we seek, right? And this should be a very fucking easy answer for any Democrat politician or anybody that has, again, a brain in their heads, where it's like, okay, we're going to hold everybody accountable. We're going to do this, that, and the third based on whatever law we have to abide by and holding these people to task. We're going to take this person to task for lying under oath. Like, there are very specific issues that we could already be pointing to the people in which we're going to say, okay, this is the accountability that we're going to be seeking at this point in time. So I'm very disappointed in Jamie Raskin's answer to this question. And again, this is not calling out any of the work that he's done recently. This is just one little aspect of how, people get dissuaded from liking or getting behind politicians, is when they hear mealy-mouthed, politically correct, I'm just a politician, I don't really want to dive into that right now type of answer. And it's even called out by Legal Eagle, somebody that, to the best of my knowledge, isn't relatively political, isn't known for being overtly political on one side or the other. More recently been speaking out against ICE's injustices, especially after the Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy circumstances, of course. But beyond that, he's more of, just diving into the law aspects of things. As far as I've seen, again, there may be other aspects and instances and pieces of evidence to go against what I'm saying here, but just as far as my knowledge takes me. But here's just the ending of this. Here's the question that's posed to Jamie Raskin, and then Jamie Raskin's answer to this question. When the people, with every poll that we've seen, all the action that we've seen on the streets, all the protesting, right, all of the fucking outrage being expressed on social media through the outlets of mainstream media, through interviews and stuff, the outrage that the people are feeling right now, how much we want to see accountability, and these people pay for the crimes that they've committed, pay for the corruption. And then not only that, to set the tone, to send a message to people, anybody else that thinks they're going to come up and deal themselves or, act in the way that these people have acted, and just do anything and everything they want to stomp on the rights of the American people, to steal from this, that, and the other thing, to appoint sycophants into every position so they can, get themselves away from criticism, take themselves out of the realm of possibility for retribution. But all right, let's just play this because we got a lot to dive into. I don't want to spend too much time, but I felt it necessary to call out at least this aspect of the answer.
Final question. If the Democrats do take one or both houses of Congress after the midterms, how does that change the calculus, and what will be on the list of things to do to try to right the ship?
So this is the difference between you guys in the media and us in politics. You are 57 chess moves ahead of us. I mean, I'm spending my weekends in New Hampshire, North Carolina, Nevada. I'm out there campaigning for people. And
I'm sorry. Well, maybe your campaigning should be put on hold for just the moment in time right now to give people an answer. Like for this 30-second clip, you could kind of put that campaigning on hold and give people an answer. Because even the way the question was presented, what is on the list? Like there is a fucking list of things that people are demanding accountability for at this point. So for you to be able to rattle off, I don't know, the top 5 or 6 things, the $10 billion lawsuit, again, all the corruption and fraud by Donald Trump, again, the Epstein files and the ongoing cover-up, the lying under oath by Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. I mean, the illegal strikes on the Venezuelan fishing boats, the illegal kidnapping and capture of Nicolas Maduro. Any of these things that you want to talk about that we're going to be, taking these people to task for should be on the top of your mind right now. Right now, at this fucking very instance, you should be ready to go with these things that you're going to be seeking accountability for, right? And he goes on.
We're already planning our next agenda, and we're trying to win the election. So I'm not trying to do a Pam Bondi.
You're only going to win the election by giving people the agenda that tells them that you're willing to go out there and win this election. And when you do win this election, you're willing to, act and perform the way that you said you were going to in the campaigning up until the election, up until the midterms, right? That is, you don't just what are you saying on the campaign trail then? That's my question. Because what you're saying on the campaign trail should be the list of things that the people are demanding of you as far as accountability and action towards the corrupt government that we now have in place. So this, and again, I'll skip to the end because I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but even the response by Legal Eagle to this was like, all right, I'll let you kind of get away with that, that political speak, that politician's answer as far as this is concerned. But, if we ever meet again, I'd kind of like, a better answer to that question is kind of, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but I think that's roughly the idea here.
Contempt on the table?
Again, you guys are so far ahead of us. I'm spending
my specifically asked, is contempt on the table? We just caught the bare end of that, but I mean, is impeachment, is contempt, is holding people accountable for lying under oath to Congress? Is any of that on the table? Is that on the forefront of your minds? Is that what you're thinking about? Because this doesn't. We want to be acting, not reacting when we take back power. We want to be all set to go with these plans, with the fucking people we want to pinpoint, with the crimes they committed, with the evidence that we have to prove the crimes that they committed. We don't want to be on the fucking back foot and having this take 6, 7 months, a year, 2 years to get rolling. Next thing you know, everybody's on to the next thing. Everybody's forgotten about it, and then nothing really fucking comes from it. That's what we don't want. We want to be on top of this fucking shit. We want to already have these prosecutions ready to go. Evidence fucking set to go. The people in the fucking, in Congress, ready to tell the people, this is what we're going to act on. These are the people that have already lied to us. We know about it. Here's the evidence to suggest it. Right? So I don't like this answer at all by any stretch of the imagination. And again, we have so much to cover. I'll go on, but I just want to play the response by Legal Eagle because it's, it's pretty on point as far as I'm concerned.
for everybody.
Okay, I will let you get away with that politician's answer for
I'd
now.
appreciate
but
that,
we
Matt.
we will haul you back in here, and we've got about a million other topics to talk about. But
Right, so I'll let you get away with that politician's answer right now. And Jamie Raskin says, I appreciate it. And listen, I don't know if he's exhausted. I don't know what time of day this took place. I don't know, what I don't know, right? But again, you're a politician. You're out there representing the people. You took this interview. You should have your fucking A game ready to go at all times, especially at a time as critical as we're facing right now, heading into midterms. You have to have your talking points. You have to have everything fucking down pat. And it shouldn't be that fucking difficult for you to list off 5, 6, 7, 10 things right now that we already have evidence, blatant evidence to prove that these people lied to us, stole from us, committed illegal actions, went around Congress somehow, whatever it may be. The fucking crypto scams, the NFT scams, anything that you can list off right now that we already have clear-cut evidence to prove should be listed right here in this aspect. And that's just my take on it. You may disagree. You may not think it's right to be talking about this, but how else are we going to get voters, which is our goal in the end of this, is to get voters on our side to recognize, hey, this side has the best intentions. This side has, everything that you want to see. I understand that they're not going to get it all done. I understand that not everybody is, floats your boat. Not everybody fits your fucking scheme of things. But your best chance right now is to do this, right? Your best chance is this side of the aisle, not the fucking people actively protecting pedophiles and covering up for the world's largest sex trafficking ring of children. Not that side. I know it's hard to believe. I know it's crazy, but I mean, that's just something that we're just trying to get out there. So again, just something that I felt necessary to call out in that aspect. And as we're trying to, get the message across to people that yes, these people will not get away with it. Yes, they will be held accountable. And yes, a message will be sent that people in the future will not be able to get away with this. So if you're thinking about it, think twice, because this is what's going to happen to you. And it doesn't seem like that's really being thought about. And again, taking that one piece of evidence and kind of generalizing it. It doesn't seem like it was on the forefront of the mind. So, all right, next thing we're going to dive into here is obviously the continuing and ongoing cover-up by the DOJ, the Epstein administration, about what's coming out of the Epstein files. And this was posted by Midas Touch as the DOJ continues to muddy the waters by combining names in the Epstein files of, quote, politically exposed persons who are actually involved with Epstein with random individuals who are mentioned in unrelated ways, right? So this is posted by Aaron Parnas. Scoop, the Department of Justice has sent over a letter to Congress outlining why it has made redactions to the Epstein files. The 6-page letter also includes a list of all government officials and politically exposed persons in the file. And here you go. You can see a few of the pictures that he posted of the actual documents themselves. Right. And then the list of names here, Alexander Acosta, all the way down to Pramila Jayapal. Again, there's some wacky names on here, as we'll hear in, I believe, the Midas Touch video we'll hear next. But again, just basically just throwing shit at the wall, just throwing everything they possibly can, every name that's mentioned in there in this way, this form, that, it doesn't matter how they're related. But they're just trying to get as many names out there as possible to get people talking about. Maybe you won't notice Donald Trump's name or the fucking 47 government officials that are now listed in these files that are currently working side by side or in some capacity with the Trump administration, right? Like, what's a couple on here? You got De Niro. I think somebody said Elvis was on this, some bullshit. But, I think Midas Touch, here's a video here that Midas Touch did relating to this latest kind of, fake list sent out by the DOJ to kind of muddy the waters, to make everybody talking about it so that it doesn't seem as strange that a lot of these other names that are coming out, and that Howard Lutnick fucking lied to everybody about his involvement in his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and that he closely is associated with the president. And again, along with I don't know, what is it again? What's the official number right now of Trump administrators or people listed in this administration that have been listed in this? I think it's 15, 16, 17, 25, 38, 97 at this point. I don't know. It keeps going up by the day, I'm sure. But all right, this is Ben talking about a little bit of the DOJ release and what that was detailing. So let's get into this, and then we got a bunch more to get into as well. So I appreciate you. Hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. And this is the Midas Touch Network talking about that DOJ release. It says Trump loses it and sends fake list as administration collapses.
Donald Trump is absolutely losing it as the Epstein files continue to expose him and his regime. And so he had his Department of Justice release basically a bogus list, which they call, this is the politically exposed list of people who are in the Epstein files. And so they try to like bury Donald Trump's name, which of course is on the list, with a bunch of other people. And they're doing it in a way to kind of just give the middle finger to the entire investigation into the child sex trafficking, and give the middle finger to the entire survivor community. And I don't say this lightly, but look at who the people they're listing as politically exposed. The Pope John Paul II, late Pope. They have Elvis Presley on there. They have Janis Joplin, who died in 1970. Marilyn Monroe is on there. And they're saying these are the politically exposed people who were involved in the Epstein list. Then you look through it and you have people like Todd Blanche and Donald Trump's name, but that's how they think they're being clever, by including all those people together. I mean, it's just so utterly despicable. And by the way, even Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, I'm all over the lists and the emails. And she's like, I wasn't even a member of Congress, until after Epstein, died. And so you're putting me on the list. And so it just seems to be what the Trump regime is doing. We got the scoop first here on the Midas Touch Network. Aaron Parnas reported the Department of Justice has sent over a letter to Congress outlining, or supposed to outline, why it made the redactions to the Epstein files. It's a 6-page letter that then includes the list of politically exposed persons.
And again, what's even
Elvis,
crazier
Pope
than
John Paul II, Marilyn Monroe,
Pause.
Janis Joplin, people like that.
I don't know, my mouse wasn't working there. But what's even crazier than them listing people like Janis Joplin and Elvis is kind of the reaction to this by people like Alex Jones. Because let me see if I can find this one. This was kind of clever, because Alex Jones thought he was being funny here, and people thought they were, kind of get a slam dunk on people here on Twitter, where he says, kaboom, 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 people. The Gay Frogs just came out with a breaking news release. The Gay Frogs just said Pam Bondi just unleashed the full Epstein files under the Transparency Act. All 3.5 million pages dropped. Redactions justified only for victims and high-profile names exposed with zero cover-ups for embarrassment or politics. No records withheld. This backfired bigly on the left. Powerful Dems like Bill Clinton mentioned 1,193 times. Others busted, while fake smears against Trump called out as BS. Vindication for Trump, right? You'd be like, what the fuck does that mean? That makes absolutely no sense. That's almost like talking about Donald Trump's. What's going on right now? Something ain't right with my mouse right now. I don't know what's happening, but it ain't right. I need to hit something. All right. There we go. Why is it going big and small? I don't even know how I'm doing that. Reset. All right, good. Now stop it. Don't touch anything. All right. But Jesus H. Christ. What is happening, people? Why is that doing that? I just want to move up and down the page. I don't want to make it bigger or smaller. What is going on? All right, we're having a moment. We're having a moment. Everybody settle down. Everybody take a breather. Computer, settle down. Relax. I don't know why this is happening. I don't know why you're doing what you're doing, but I just want to go up and down. That's all I want to do. How does this? I don't even know how that works or happens. Well, anyway, what I want to get to, maybe I can just do this. Yeah, I can. Well, what's funny about this is Alex Jones was hit over the head and sniped by the community notes here, which says this is a complete lie. The DOJ simply released a statement with a list of names associated with the Epstein and the files. There hasn't been a single new file released since the batch in late January 2026, which still includes heavy redactions. 3 million plus files are still unreleased. And it's not even good. It's not even good enough for them to hit them with one community notes. They hit them with 2 community notes. This is a complete lie. First one just says this is a lie. Here, I might be able to zoom in since my mouse is allowing me to do that. This is a complete lie, right? And then this is a lie, and then it says the second one says, nope, it's a complete lie. They actually had to update the community notes for the community notes, right? It says the same thing afterwards, but this is a complete lie instead of this is a lie. So I love the fact that not only was this Alex Jones getting hit over the head, but I think it was actually him. Yeah, he reposted Gunther Eagleman's original post, which kind of said the same exact thing. So you can see how they all take each other's post and use it as propaganda. They're trying to say that the 1,193 times that Bill Clinton is mentioned in here is substantial. Well, God fucking bless these people when they find out how many times Donald Trump's name is mentioned in these motherfuckers, right? They're going to blow their top off. They're going to seriously have a fucking conniption when they find out how many times Trump's listed. If they think the 1,193 times, again, that they recall or allege that that Bill Clinton has mentioned in these is something like substantial and that you should follow and look into. Holy shit. And again, I'll walk them both to their cells. How about that? I'll walk every single one of them, regardless of the D or R or whatever they have next to their names, and I will lock them up myself, whether it's Bill, whether it's anybody. I don't give a shit. So whether you think you're like hitting us over the head with this, like, oh, Bill Clinton show, we don't give a fuck. Fucking take them. Send them away. Do whatever you want to do with them. Throw them in the pit for all I give a shit. I don't care. Doesn't matter. We want justice and accountability for every single person involved. That's what's going on. But I just thought it was rather funny. And he wasn't the only one, because obviously other idiots were trying to repost this same shit, trying to call it vindication for Trump, when in fact it was anything but just more propaganda on the old propaganda site Twitter. But I don't know what's going on with the old can't tell you what's going on with the old mouse. I'm kind of a little bit worried about what's happening with it right now. But all right, on to the next thing, which is the fact that I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe, and I know this might be hard to believe. I know I found it hard to believe myself. But apparently Thomas Massie is a follower of my Blue Sky page. And I would just like to thank Thomas Massie only and specifically for the work that he's done in reference to the Epstein files and the release thereof, the information that we have thus far, and also for following my Blue Sky page. Because on a recent interview with ABC this week, Thomas Massie pretty much repeated, or not pretty much, did repeat word for word a post that I had posted just a day before. So I'll go on to play his little clip here, and then I want to show you just what I posted to Blue Sky. Again, not that much before he actually went on to have this appearance. So let's see if we can play this. I'll make it a little bigger on your screen. This is Thomas Massie again, ABC, talking about Donald Trump having dinner with all of these people while also saying he was going to be transparent, but has been anything but. And now he's still not only in the Epstein class, but listen to what he calls this administration, and then I'll show you what I tweeted, put on Blue Sky. My apologies.
Responsibility. And just very quickly, if you will, you've supported most of what Donald Trump has done during his presidency. But because of your actions with these files, he is supporting your primary opponent and has waged very personal attacks on you. I know we just have a few seconds here, but just your reaction to that.
Look, this is about the Epstein class. The people who are funding the attacks against me, they may or may not be implicated in these files, but they were certainly rubbing shoulders with the people who are in these files. They're billionaires who are friends with these people, and that's what I'm up against in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump told us that even though, he had dinner with these kinds of people in New York City and West Palm Beach, that he would be transparent. But he's not. He's still in with the Epstein class. This is the Epstein administration. And
what do you call it? What did he just call that? Let me just see. Just a quick rewind on that if I can. I think he just called. I just want to hear what he called this administration. Let me just see here.
Attacking me for trying to get.
Is this just not going to allow me to do anything nowadays? It's just not letting me work anything? I don't understand what's happening. Why does it let me play it and pause it, but I can't rewind it? Let's see here. How's this going to work? Why do I have no controls right now? What am I doing wrong? And why is this happening right now? I just want control over it.
Files released.
And again, I'm going to say President Trump has not been accused of anything criminal here.
Well, again, there's ABC's little stipulation that they have to put in there. For some reason, it's not letting me control the clip, so I apologize. But again, you heard what he called it. He called it the Epstein administration. Okay? The Epstein, he says, quote unquote, this is the Epstein administration. Okay, you heard him verbatim, word for word. That's what he said. What did I tweet? What did I put on Blue Sky not that long before? I said, quote unquote, this is the Epstein administration. So again, I don't know. Maybe just, in this case, he just happened to stumble upon this, or, maybe some of his little minions or Thomas Massie himself are trolling and kind of scrolling on Blue Sky to see what people are saying and thinking about this whole thing. I don't know. Maybe he thought it was appropriate to use as far as I'm concerned. But this was, again, why I was up at 1:53 a.m. Don't ask. But it was 1:53 a.m., February 14th, right? So again, you can check the timestamps. You can check when he was on with ABC. I'd like to thank Thomas Massie and again, maybe his crew, his clan, his administration there the people that he has working for him for following me on Blue Sky, because again, it's kind of hard to think that, word for word, verbatim, it came from anybody else. I don't know. I gotta say. But all right, that kind of leads us on to the next Republican, so to speak, speaking out about these things, because Marjorie Taylor Greene has been kind of making headlines, causing waves, I'll say again, in the old MAGA sphere with her latest comments on a few different instances on a few different podcasts. This one was on with, I believe this guy's name is Owen Schroyer. If I'm fucking mistaken, if I'm incorrect about that, let me know in the chat. Not that I give a shit to correct it anyway, but whatever, just so you guys know. But this is where she's talking about, the fight that Donald Trump has put up, the fight and the threats that Donald Trump has kind of put towards her as far as, signing on to the petition, backing the victims of the Epstein files. So not only was she on with Owen Schroyer, there's a couple clips here from her on with Tomi Lahren as well, where she kind of goes into, more depth of what she's speaking about and what she's talking about. So I just want to go through a couple of these clips, if I may. And again, this is more or less not to obviously give any of these sick individuals any credit whatsoever, considering they're directly responsible for the place that we now find ourselves in right now, but just to show you how deep the cracks have formed, right? Just to show you how how there's absolutely zero chance right now that Donald Trump can regain this in any way, shape, or form. Like, he's not going to be able to right the ship. He's not going to be able to sweep this back under the rug, get everybody back under the same tent, and live happily ever after again without anybody bringing up the Epstein files. Right? It's gone too far. It's spread too far. The accountability that we talked about on the other show of, people around the world that have either, seen themselves propped up in investigations, involved in resignations, public pressure on to a large extent, but nothing really going on in the United States as far as justice, prosecution, accountability, anything like that. The world is taking it a lot more seriously than we are here in the United States. And it's, it's kind of points directly back at the White House as to why that's happening. But this is, again, Marjorie Taylor Greene on with this, some asshole. I believe it's Owen Schroyer, so that's what I'm going with. And let's listen to her comments here, and then we'll go on to hear her on with Tomi Lahren, because I think it's kind of insightful. And this should show Donald Trump, the GOP, and the Republican Party to a large extent, just how damaging this has become and just how far down the fucking cracks everybody has fallen as far as MAGA and not being able to crawl their asses back out of it. So check this out. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about Donald Trump and the fight that he's put up against her in her fucking, defense of the Epstein victims. So check this out.
Pam Bondi, she serves at the pleasure of the president and his administration, and those there are telling her, here's who you can prosecute. No, don't do this. I mean, they told her that the Epstein files, that fight to release the Epstein files came directly from President Trump. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that is the truth. He fought the hardest to stop these files from being released. And the only reason that he signed our bill that we passed in the House was because he had to.
Donald Trump, you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene, again, decrepit, fucking soulless Marjorie Taylor Greene herself is now saying that Donald Trump put up the biggest fight. He was the biggest impediment. He was the biggest roadblock as far as getting justice in this situation, as far as the release of these files, and only because it was the most unanimous fucking thing ever to pass through the fucking House ever, right? That he was forced to put his name on this legislation that, again, the DOJ didn't follow. So she's saying here, and again, not to a left audience, not to a progressive audience, not to a liberal audience, right? But to the fucking schmucks that actively put this asshole in power, that, hey, guess who was the fucking biggest roadblock to me exercising my rights to defend these fucking victims and asking for the release of the files, and again, justice and accountability. We keep repeating it and saying it, but that's what we're asking for. I know it can get repetitive, but again, can never be said too much because we're getting none of it right now. So we need to continuously remind these motherfuckers what we're after, obviously. But here she is here saying that thing right here with Owen Schroyer.
Became a massive political problem. Biggest political miscalculation in Donald Trump's career.
Biggest political miscalculation of Donald Trump's career. And as fucking dumb and as ignorant and as corrupt as Marjorie Taylor Greene is, she is fucking spot on that one. And that's been something we've talked about. Like typically in Trump's first administration, in the lead up to it, in during Joe Biden's administration, to a large extent, Donald Trump had his finger on the pulse of the fucking MAGA base. He knew what he could get away with. He knew what he could say. He knew what he could represent. He knew what he could lie about. He knew what he could propagandize, right? He kind of knew that fine line, and there basically was no line at that point, but he kind of knew how to tiptoe in and out of the fucking shallow and deep end as far as the MAGA base is concerned. He doesn't have that anymore. He doesn't seem to be able to control. He doesn't seem to be able to, again, sway the MAGA base in the way that he had the fucking control over once. We can't propagandize him in the same way. Too much is known. Too much has been asked for. Too much has been promised by this fucking regime and not delivered upon for this to just go away. So again, she's 100% right as far as this being a complete political miscalculation, which is just the most ridiculous thing to even have to announce, considering the fucking past relationships of this guy. Like, you didn't see it coming that this could be, I don't know, a political problem, having, put into fucking political power, having put into the White House Jeffrey Epstein's former best friend, right? You didn't see that maybe being an issue somewhere down the line. You didn't see that being a problem, knowing what he's said in the past. Again, with the grabbing women by the crotch without consent, the stuff that he said about his daughter, the stuff that he said on Howard Stern, the stuff that he said about the pageants, the stuff that he said about dating a 10-year-old in several years on the escalator. I mean, put it all together here. You didn't see this being a problem at some point when people were going to bring this up? His relationship with all of these motherfuckers now listed in the Epstein files, whether it be financial, whether it be sexual, or both at this fucking point in time. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't see that somewhere down the line becoming an issue, did you? Now it's all of a sudden like, oh shit, oh man, this is a problem. We didn't fucking see this coming at all. How the fuck? How were we supposed to know this was going to be an issue? Well, I don't know. It was only fucking 25, 35 years of information and, stuff out there for you to see. Not only that, but every liberal and progressive and leftist in the fucking planet saying, hey, that motherfucker, yeah, he's, remember when he was friends all that time with Epstein and partied with Epstein and filmed and, talked with and all the stuff that they had to say together and the flight logs and all, you remember all that stuff? Like, maybe not put this guy in office per se. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, I'll let her go on. And then there's a clip from her and Tomi Lahren as well, where she kind of, goes further into this point.
Calling this a hoax, fighting the release of it, and having Mike Johnson, the speaker, refuse to bring the bill to the floor, to the point where Thomas Massie, myself, Nancy Mason, Lauren Boebert actually had to vote with all of the Democrats to get it released.
All right, so that's her on with Owen there, and then this is her on with Tomi Lahren, pretty much again going into the same points that she was making there. But just a little bit more in depth. So I'll let her play here. I'll let her speak on with Tomi Lahren, who is again just a total waste of space and electricity here as far as the podcast is concerned. But here's Marjorie Taylor Greene on with Tomi Lahren. Play. Why is my mouse not working?
Don Jr., everybody, Charlie Kirk, everybody was released Epstein files. Ironically, no Democrats were, but all of us were. And here it turned into a fight where the president,
again, absolute fucking horseshit and nonsense to say that at no point a Democrat was asking for the information, the release of, or speaking about the Epstein files and Donald Trump's involvement in any way. I mean, it's just complete fucking and utter nonsense, right? This is again that line of let me try to call it out, and I'm gonna call out Donald Trump, but also try to keep myself on the right side of things. I don't want to get threats and shit, right? So I'm gonna expose him while also kind of telling the line a little bit here. So Tommy, forgive me if I'm kind of being hypocritical in the same sentence, but it's what I got to do with my Nazi boots on. I got these straight from Greg Bovino. Greg Bovino's little feet and me have the same size. Apparently, he couldn't use these anymore since he's been sent back in. But yeah, I'm gonna put on his Nazi boots here. I'll put on these little SS boots, and then yeah, if you want to suck them, you can lick them, because I know that's what you do, Tommy. Just play.
Yelled at me, was angry at me, told me that his friends would get hurt, and that's why he wanted me to take my name off that discharge petition.
And those are specifically Donald Trump's words. Let me see if I can rewind this, if it'll let me rewind it. Nope, nothing's letting me do anything right now, and I don't know why. It will let me rewind by this, so at least we can do that. At least we can do that. So I'm gonna let this play again. And these are, again, Donald Trump's words to Marjorie Taylor Greene as they're meeting, talking about the victims, talking about the release of the files, talking about the issues, right? Check this out.
Him calling me a traitor and saying that he would primary me. So no, this has been a major issue. He called it a Democrat hoax, which is not a hoax. Fought to release the files, had our Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was fighting us to get this vote to the floor, to the point where we had to work with Democrats. We shouldn't have never had to work with Democrats. This was the easiest thing for our Republican majority to do without the Democrats, because they didn't care about it. They clearly never cared about it until it became a political scoreboard for them. And now it was mishandled so poorly that here they are, they're taking victory laps that they don't even deserve.
Again, just utter nonsense and total horseshit that's coming out of her mouth. And this is her, again, trying to, at one step, pander to the base, at one step being like, no, I'm still with you as far as the fight against Democrats, even though I'm voting with them, even though I'm going against Donald Trump. I'm still very much on your side. Please don't send me death threats. Please don't call me out in the airports and chase me down in public. That would be really bad. So listen to what I'm saying here. I know I'm calling it out, but just listen to what I'm saying on the other side of it here. Just hear me out now. That's kind of what's going on. It's right in line with all of them as far as this is concerned. And, to a large extent, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going a lot further in calling out Trump specifically, as far as him being an impediment, a roadblock, being the biggest impediment in roadblock, threatening her, with primaries if she didn't take her name off of the petition, this, that, and the other thing. So to that extent, she has gone a lot further than a lot of these other assholes will, but still, there's just something in their brain that just will not let them fully disassociate from Donald Trump, from the MAGA base, from the things that he represents in totality, right? They just cannot allow themselves to be like, I was fooled, I was propagandized, I was an idiot, they took advantage of me, and I fell for it. And this is now me coming to the fucking light of Jesus Christ here, seeing that I was lied to. But still, I hate these other people that have been trying to expose this and have been yelling at me from the other side of the aisle for the last fucking 10 or 11 years, telling me the same shit we're finding out right now. You know what I mean? So it's, again, they just can't fully disassociate as hard as they try, as much as they want to, as much as they know they should. They just can't bring themselves to. And of course, Tommy doesn't believe in any way, shape, or form any of the information coming out of the Epstein files. She doesn't want to speak about it. She doesn't think that Donald Trump should be listed or named as far as being involved at all. That's kind of her position in this.
And I think it's been the biggest political miscalculation, but it has also shattered MAGA and caused us to lose the independent vote that oh my goodness, that's how we won the midterms.
You think the Epstein files are powerful enough, or I guess consequential enough, to sway independents in their vote?
There's a couple of key things, but I think that,
I don't know if that's just kind of like, I'm just going to ask this question, even though I already know the answer type of question, but what kind of ridiculous shit is that? Have you not been paying attention to the public reaction? Are you not paying attention to the polls that have come out as far as this specific situation is concerned? Have you not heard the outrage around the world? Forget independence at this point. We're talking about fucking worldwide outrage and reaction by police departments, by fucking governments all over the world here. People being stripped of titles, people resigning, people being fucking investigated, removed from their positions of power, whatever it may be. The world is obviously taking this serious. So it goes well beyond fucking Democrat, Republican, and Independent. As we've continued to say, this should be a non-political issue. This should be a good versus evil type of issue, a right versus wrong type of issue, regardless. If there's any fucking thing that Americans should be able to stand side by side on, right? In conjunction with each other on, is this fucking type of situation, of these type of actions, of these type of fucking, criminal monsters and sick fucking decrepit pieces of shit that have so much power and sway in our society nowadays. Like, if there's anything out there that everybody should be like, all right, fuck politics at this point, right? Just fucking burn them at the stake. Like, whatever we got to do, put them in the pit. I don't care. Release the names, send the police after them. We'll have the trial afterwards. Like, whatever it takes at this point. Like, we should all be on the same side. Even though I know we're not, and I know that's a fantasy land, that's just, completely not where we are in today's society. That's at least what a sober, sane man would be thinking, right? Like, why is this so difficult for everybody to call out? How could you possibly still be defending this at this point? Well, clearly it's not as, it's not as easy for these people. But I think she goes on here a little bit, and then we'll dive on to the next, our next clip. Jesus Christ.
that is a big one. Nothing's on its own in isolation, but the Epstein files are a big one. But the independents, we're losing them on cost of living, cost of housing, especially for young people, can't afford to buy houses, health insurance. It's a big one. Democrats created the whole disaster with Obamacare. Then they made it worse with the ACA tax credits. And then
all right, so I'm not going to let her go on and keep propagandizing, but to the point where she's calling out cost of living, cost of housing, right? All those aspects, and saying even above the Epstein files things, like we're losing all over the joint. And she's correct on pointing those things out, right? And it's good that she's bringing them up on these type of podcast here, so that the people can hear her saying this. The typical people that watch Tomi Lahren aren't probably hearing this sort of thing, on the Twitter spaces that they engage in. So the fact that she's now bringing this up, where like, listen, you can fucking, obviously these are a huge miscalculation as far as how they've handled the Epstein files. And it's going to be a beating that they're going to take as far as the midterms are concerned. But there are so many different aspects and other things right now that the American people are pissed off about. And then, like I said, she goes on to list them. But it's, Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking about this on with Tomi Lahren just should show the Trump administration how deep the cracks are right now inside of MAGA, and how much trouble they are in right now going into midterms, as far as the numbers are looking, as far as, again, the sentiment of the American populace is concerned, and as far as just who's continuing to speak up about these things, whether it's MAGA podcasters, whether it's ex-MAGA politicians, whatever it may be. It's gone too far. They can't put the cat back in the bag. Again, they're not sweeping this dust back under the fucking rug by any stretch of the imagination, as much as they continue to try to do so. And again, as far as continuing to try to do so, this has just creeped back on social media as well. I mean, a lot of these things have been out there, have been known, which is, again, even more frustrating to everybody, especially the people on our side that have been trying to point this shit out for a long fucking time, as far as the relationships, as far as the accusations, the allegations, the different stories from this, that, or the other thing, the parties that they're associated with, whether it's, domestic or abroad. This is a BBC documentary. And again, I'm not 100% sure what year the documentary went out. I know this was posted... Let me see. Posted 7 years ago. So July 9th, 2018 is when this was posted. But as to when this original documentary was created, I don't know the exact date. So I'll have to find that out. Maybe they say it in there. But this is, again, titled Trump, Is the President a Sex Pest? And again, this is different stories from different women, different allegations about him in his past, about parties, interactions. So again, this is something that was making the rounds, but I think Midas Touch, without, because we don't have a ton of time, and this is about a half hour long, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the link in the chat for you guys. And then I'll see if there's I think Midas Touch posted a couple clips from this, so we can kind of save some time, dive into a couple clips. There's the link in the chat right there. If the mods can make sure that people understand that's what I just posted. And then we'll go on to a few of these clips from Midas Touch, because, again, for the sake of time, just to kind of go through a few of these. God damn it with this. I don't know what's happening. It's going to get me the whole time, though. All right, let me see here. Going into this, I want to do that. And that's it. Okay. Full screen to escape. No, it's still not working. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, and I do apologize, but I don't know how to control that. I'll have to figure it out after. I'll just go by the side. We'll go old school. So again, this is from this specific documentary. Let me see if I can make sure that that's what you're seeing. Yes, you are. That's what you're seeing. We'll go back to this. And again, this is narrator Barbara Piling, was a young model in New York. She first saw Donald Trump at a party in the late 80s. She never spoken about it publicly, about it before. He said, "How old are you?" He said, and I said 17. He goes, "Oh, great. So you're not too old. You're not too young. That's just great." So again, this is a clip from that documentary. Let's see if we can get into this. Oh, sorry. Let me see if I can start it. Put it on your screen, even though it's going to be more difficult without the mouse working. Here we go. We started from the beginning. Oh, for crying out loud.
What else could I feel like?
Play it.
Barbara Pilling was a young model in New York. She first saw Donald Trump at a party in the late 80s. She's never spoken publicly about it before.
He said, "How old are you?" And I said, 17. He goes, "Oh, great. So you're not too old, not too young. That's just great." I remember one of the waitresses offered him a drink. He didn't take the drink, and he slapped her bottom. She was a blonde. He gave her about a slap knee, and he was very loud. He was like, "Don't worry, that's not your tip."
Heather Braden also saw Donald Trump at model parties in the 90s. One was in Florida. At 23, she was one of the oldest women there.
I remember particularly seeing him at a party at a house in Miami. This particular party, there were 4 men and probably 50 models.
4 men and 50 models.
That's approximately what I would remember. And I was one of the models. I mean, I felt like I was in some, I could have been very well being auctioned off in some sort of a sex slave ring. That's how I felt. I felt like a piece of meat.
Which is crazy to hear, considering what we've known come out of the Epstein files recently. With the parties and the auctions that they were seemingly having in different aspects for different people. It's crazy how related this is to what we are now finding out coming out of the Epstein files. Again, this was years ago, posted by BBC, stories that were out there, people that were known to have come out with these allegations. It's not like this was a big secret by any stretch of the imagination, and this wasn't the only one. There's a couple clips coming out of this, and like I said, it's a half-hour documentary, or at least the post is a half hour of the documentary, I should say. This is another one from that same documentary. Let me put this on here.
Women were not fully clothed when Donald Trump came in.
And some of those women were, what, as young as 15?
Yes, 15 years old. I remember being in the back and hearing the chaperones say, ladies, listen up. We've got someone that's going to come in and see you. Make sure.
Yeah, I know. Somebody said, you said click the mouse wheel. That's not working. I've tried that for some reason. That ain't helping. That ain't helping. For some reason, even when I click it twice, it's still doing the Zoom stuff. I know what you're talking about. Ain't that easy to fix. Never is.
you're at least covered up. All of the girls were changing, getting their bras and underwear on and getting ready to put on their opening number outfits.
So when Donald Trump walked in, there were women in there who weren't fully clothed.
Correct. Women were not fully clothed when Donald Trump came in.
And some of those women were, what, as young as 15?
Yes, 15 years old.
You know what I mean? I mean, like, it's fucking shameful to, I can't even point out to what degree, for people to be like, oh no, how could you possibly think that he could be involved, or this type of thing could be up, up his alley and what he liked. And it's like, how much more information do you need? How much more evidence do you need to be shown before you're like, oh, you know what? This is fucking right up this guy's alley. Like, this is exactly who he hung out with. This is exactly what we've known him to speak about. The actions that we've known him to brag about. Like, yes, this fits. The shoe fucking fits, right? In this case, and like how long you could possibly act like you're naive enough to not believe his involvement in this is again, it's something that's going to need to be studied for a long time to come. And there's a few other clips to come from this as well. Here's another one from that same documentary. Let me see if I can get it from the beginning here. I don't why this I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to somehow let it play, I guess. Can I go forward? No.
Looked at me and I go, have you talked to that Trump guy? And she goes, yeah, as I was walking by, he's like trying to grab my ass.
We do know that he was having sex with them.
How do you know that?
Because the next day or days after we would hear about it, he'd brag about it to his friends and it would get around that he scored, maybe 1 or 2 girls at a time, which is what he loved to do.
And again, the same thing we heard from his interactions with Stormy Daniels as well, right? He was bragging on the golf course about it. Couldn't keep his fucking trap shut. Couldn't wait to tell people about it. So again, this all fucking fits the mold. This all fits the criteria. This all fits the description of the criminal that we're discussing here.
There's no evidence that Donald Trump slept with underage girls. But what's most shocking is the age of some of the models at the parties.
There was girls, I would say 14, 15 years old from Europe, the European girls.
They were 14 or 15?
There were girls that were 14, 15 years old, for sure. I mean, I didn't run up and say, how old are you? But they looked younger than I was, and I was 17. You just knew because of what they were wearing and how they would hold themselves.
And these girls are all like, anywhere from 14, 15, 16 years old. There was very few girls above the age of 19 there.
And you saw Donald Trump with these girls who were that young, 15, 16?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they're standing around with them, ogling them.
was just.
And again, just a few of the clips here from this BBC documentary titled, "Is the President a Sex Pest?" Well, let me see. There's a couple. Let me see. There's another one here I wanted to show. And then again, like I said, I'll post the link in the chat for everybody. Was this the first one? This might have been the first one that we showed. I think that was what they showed from this one as well. This one too. Maybe is this the one that we just saw? Yeah, that's the one that we just saw as well. These might just be reposts of the same thing. So those are the clips posted here from that documentary. That's definitely not going to, Donald Trump's definitely not going to like that. That's making its rounds back around the social media sites. So if you could repost that, if you could share that, get that out to as many people so they could obviously see the allegations and the evidence to suggest that this isn't against his character. This isn't something that you'd have to, have a huge leap of faith to believe, or like this doesn't take a big stretch of the imagination to be like, yes, he's involved in all of this. And this is exactly why it's now being covered up by this government that he's fucking in charge of. So it shouldn't be that difficult with all the information out there for these people, but they continue to do it. The Megyn Kellys, the Tim Pools, the Benny Johnsons, the Laura Loomers, all of them out there continue to do it on a daily basis. And there's more and more and more and more evidence every single day coming out as to why they are absolutely morons and cannot be considered to be on the right side of history whatsoever in this aspect. A lot of them just, I don't know. It's still, to me, is a question of how many of them actually know and find themselves in to be like they're already dug in too deep. Like they've gone too far down this rabbit hole. They're too deeply invested into, the money that comes from MAGA to let themselves out of it. And just how many are that ignorant and blinded and like just out of touch with reality to be like, no, it's absolutely impossible that any of these people, the 47 people that are now working for this administration that are listed in these Epstein files could have any fucking, criminal wrongdoing associated with them at any point in time. Right? It's wild. I don't know. Again, it's like I said, we always say here, it's going to have to be studied for a long time to come. But speaking of how this administration, takes this as a joke and is seeing this as a joke and is laughing in basically the faces of the world at this point. This was the CoffeeZilla video from the other day we tried to get through. And I just wanted to watch a little bit more of this to kind of drill home just how fucking unserious this administration is now taking this. This is now a few days old, so I'm sure there's been some other highlights and information to come out since then. But if I just let this play a couple more minutes, I think it kind of perfectly drills home just how non-seriously this administration, this regime is taking this, and how much we can not expect justice or accountability to come from Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, or anyone in this administration for that's concerned, while Donald Trump is still president. So I just want to dive into another minute of this, and then we'll go on to the last remaining stories that we have, Israeli strikes, and then we got a few updates coming from Ukraine as well. So stick with me, hit that like button. I'm Boston Brian. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast. There's a Venmo right up here, which if you send a buck or two, that's all I ask for. We don't show you any ads. We hide nothing behind a paywall. You can see all of my content for free. The Substack is free. I don't charge for that. We don't, I have no products that I'm selling you that I'm going to say that have changed my life. Like this beard brush changed my life, even though I got it yesterday and I've never used it yet. But I'm going to say that you can't live without this beard brush. I wouldn't do it. Not going to do it. Not my style. Not going to be my style. So all we do is rely upon the generosity and the contributions of you guys that are watching. So again, a buck or two to the Venmo. Anything beyond that is totally 100% up to you. I know it's tough times. Believe me, I'm right there with you guys. So I'm not naive enough to believe that everybody is in the financial position to just be kicking out to all of these podcasts. But if you do find yourself in the position, please think about reaching out again via Venmo. Sign up for a YouTube membership for $2.99 for the month, or you can reach out at patreon.com/Boston Brian and sign up for any one of the 3 levels on there. That's about all we got going on. So self-promotional bullshit out of the way. Let's dive into at least the rest of this CoffeeZilla video. Is this a joke to them? This is titled, yes, it absolutely is. And there's a little more evidence to prove it.
A victim of said investigation. Furthermore, how can Kash Patel say under oath without perjuring himself that there was no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked to anyone else? When internal emails to 710 directors call, it says approximately 4 to 5 victims accused other adult men of abusing them. There was not enough evidence to federally charge these individuals, so the cases were referred to local law enforcement. Again, there's a huge difference between there's no credible evidence.
There is no credible information. None.
and we couldn't pull charges. I mean, that's a totally different thing. And in that case, isn't the whole
And again,
point
that-
to investigate
ties-
that? Isn't the whole
That ties right back in with Jamie Raskin's answer of I'll let you guys as podcasters and as YouTubers, why the fuck are the YouTubers 10 steps ahead of the politicians? Right? I don't even think it registered to what he said when I first watched it, or even when I watched it the second time with you guys. But when asked the question, what are we going to seek? What are we looking for if we were to take back both houses, right? What kind of justice, what kind of action will the Democrats take, against the obvious and ongoing corruption, the ongoing criminality in the government, the corruption as far as the Epstein files is concerned? Oh, you podcasters and you YouTubers, you're always a fucking mile ahead of us politicians. Why? How the fuck are we a mile ahead of you motherfuckers? How is that a possibility? You guys have the inside information. You've been voted in there to act on the best interest of the fucking American people. Right? How the fuck are we 10 steps ahead of you? And I know you got a lot going on, but you fucking put yourself up for that position. I didn't, right? So if it's too much for you guys to handle and you can't think that fucking fast in your feet, maybe we should find some people that can. I don't know. But to the fact that you're saying YouTubers and podcasters are 10 miles ahead of everybody as far as justice and accountability is concerned is fucking is enraging. Okay? It really is fucking furiously enraging at that point.
point to call more of the people saying they have evidence? Isn't that your job? How can the FBI, the DOJ, conclude definitively that Epstein wasn't trafficking to anyone when Jess Staley, during a UK court hearing in 2025, admitted to having with a member of Epstein's staff? He, of course, described it as consensual, but internally within the Epstein files, there's accusations against Jess Staley. One of the files alleges that a victim was left with body marks after an interaction with the former Barclays boss. The disgusting Mr. Staley, if anyone ever calls me Tinkerbell again, I will lose my mind. Which I know sounds weird that Jess Staley would allegedly refer to a girl as some type of like Disney character or cartoon character, but this is consistent with email exchanges. Jess Staley says, "That was fun," to Jeffrey Epstein. "Say hi to Snow White. What character would you like next?" Epstein later asks, to which Staley replied, "Beauty and the Beast."
Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, obviously, it just, honestly, every fucking document, every file that's read, every bit of information that comes out is quite literally worse, more disturbing, more sickening than the last file being talked about.
Epstein responded, "Well, one side is available." Now, again, I'm not saying these emails would be enough to charge Jess Staley, but to investigate, almost certainly. It's definitely unconscionable to say there's zero evidence of Epstein trafficking to anyone.
There is right, and all of this is just further proof that Kash Patel lied under oath. Again, further evidence to suggest that there are specific things that we could go after right now and talk about right now as far as accountability, as far as holding these people to account for their lies, for their corruption, for the cover-up. Like, this should not be difficult. It really shouldn't. We're all talking about it. You guys have all seen it. We've been calling out Howard Lutnick for his lies. Why not put that on the list?
No credible information. None.
How can that possibly be true when some of your files say 4 or 5 victims accused other men? So it is just totally insane to me the way we are all treating this, where the people in power whose job it is to hold these people accountable, they want to laugh about it. They want to joke. They want you to smile about the whole thing. This actually came to a head when one reporter asked about the survivors.
But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
But what would you say to people who feel like they haven't gotten
healthcare,
justice, Mr. President?
Something that people care about.
Gotten
You are
justice.
the worst reporter. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you.
Something that people care about. You slimy, disgusting son of a bitch. Right? What an absolute fucking demon of a human being. Move on to something people care about. And again, if that shouldn't have been the fucking ultimate disqualifier to people that haven't been propagandized and brainwashed and made to be a fucking just an absolute MAGA robot at this point, like, at what point does it become apparent to these people? Because clearly they care about it. To whatever extent they care about it, I can't tell. But there are clearly people on the other side that were promised certain things as far as the Epstein files are concerned and did absolutely want to see things as far as the Epstein files are concerned. Now, whether that's because they thought it was going to be, politically expedient to them because they've been told that it was all Democrats in the files and it was all going to be everybody with the D next to the name and not a Republican was involved, and that's why they wanted it or not, I can't be sure. But now they're being told that nobody cares about it, that the American people don't care about it, or they shouldn't care about it, and that everybody should move on. Like, that should send up a red flag, even in their fucking pathetic little pea brains, right? Wouldn't you suspect? That would be like, no, I do care about it. Meanwhile, the guy that I put in office that promised me the answers to this shit is telling me that I don't. That doesn't make sense. That's not living in reality. So you'd think that would kind of spark some interest as to, hey, maybe there's some, something else going on behind the scenes as to why he's saying this shit. But no, slowly but surely, some of them are coming out of the fog, but, not enough and not quickly enough.
Well, I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile.
Well,
on
I'm
your
asking
face.
you about survivors of Jeffrey Epstein,
You know why you're
Mr.
not
President.
smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth.
It's honestly baffling. I mean, how are we supposed to act during the Epstein files when we hear about these horrific stories? Are we all supposed to be like Howard Lutnick, just guffawing, laughing it up? How are we supposed to treat this travesty of justice? And again, I want to restate for the millionth time, this is not political, no matter how much the DOJ and FBI try to argue that it is. The person we're about to watch questioning Pam Bondi is a Republican. But anytime you say anything negative about the Epstein file handling, which was run on by this administration, they either bounce to, well, you must hate Trump, or the Democrats didn't do it last time, so we shouldn't be expected to do anything either. And you're about to see more of that.
And again, we've run through these clips a bunch of times as far as Pam Bondi's testimony or lack thereof is concerned, so we don't have to sit through it even further. But again, to the extent in which they're now trying to cover this up is again, it is mind-blowing, especially because people see right through it, right? It's not mind-blowing considering what you know about these people and what we knew that they were going to try to do, but it's mind-blowing that they're trying to continue it to this point, knowing the backlash that is out there, knowing the information that has already been released, knowing that they've already been caught taking information and taking documents off of the websites that have already been released. Right, knowing that they've already been to huge lengths to try to cover up the criminals' names and the fucking perpetrators' names in this, as opposed to the victims' names and keeping their identities safe. Like, all of this goes to show exactly and only one thing, that they are engaged in this fucking cover up for one reason, and to protect one man. And that is the president of the United States and his fucking rich and powerful friends that no doubt are behind the scenes freaking the fuck out about this and trying to pay whoever and talk to whoever they possibly can in order to keep this information as secret as possible up until this point. It really is. I mean, it's crazy to suggest that they think that it hasn't gone far enough, and it's crazy to think that with the action seeing around the world, people being arrested, people being investigated, people resigning, that somehow they're still going to be able to point to the stock market and have people be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Maybe we should forget about the Epstein." Like, it ain't no fucking way, people. Ain't no fucking way. At this point in time, with the polling numbers, with the reaction from the fucking people, it's just impossible to possibly fathom that you're going to get away with this, or going to be able to sweep this under the rug again, or be able to take yourself out of the files, or take away the criminality that you've fucking been engaged in or alleged in. It just ain't going to fucking happen. It's just not. So, to whatever extent they continue to try to cover this up, and continue to piss people off around the world remains to be seen. We're going to continue to cover it, but the DOJ, like we reported on earlier, continuing to muddy the waters by releasing, different names, associated and not associated with, so people can get talking on about it. You know what I mean? So they don't notice Donald Trump's name stand out all of those times that it's in there. All right, on to the next aspect of today's show, which is the ongoing coverage of the atrocities and wars taking place abroad, which we always try to touch on as much as humanly possible, considering what's taking place inside this country and how important it is to stay grounded in reality on what's taking place and what's being said here, because we know the importance of it around the world. We know what happens here in the United States can easily spread to different regions of the fucking planet, and that's exactly what we're trying to have not happen at this point. But wanted to throw this on your screen. Gaza Civil Defense says Israeli strikes kill another 12 This was overnight. This is by Barron's, but you can see here, I'll go back. You can see reported by several different outlets. If it will let me go back at this point. No, it's not letting me. My computer doesn't like me today for some reason, and I'm not really sure why. Not really sure why. Where'd it go now? Jesus H. Christ. Just go back. All I want to do is go back a page. But it keeps opening up a new page. I don't know. We'll figure that out later. But it's been reported by obviously multiple outlets. I was just trying to show you that. But this is saying that, oh my God, I can't even do this. I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind, people. I'm going to lose my ever-loving mind. Gaza's Civil Defense Agency reported that Israeli strikes killed at least 12 people since dawn on Sunday, while a military official says the attacks were in response to a ceasefire violation. Despite U.S. brokered truce that entered its second phase last month, violence has continued in the Palestinian territory, with Israel and Hamas blaming each other for violating the agreement. The Civil Defense Agency, which operates a rescue force under Hamas authorities, said one strike hit a tent of displaced people in northern Gaza and another targeted an area in the south. 5 people were killed and several injured when airstrikes targeted a tent sheltering displaced people in Jabalia in the north, the agency said in a statement. And again, I believe the Israeli statement coming out is saying this was in defense to 5 individuals coming towards the yellow line with weapons. But it seems kind of strange that they didn't attack or utilize or dismantle the situation that was on the ground, and instead took 2 different strikes and different retaliations on different targets, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But we want to make sure that we're staying on top of and involved of all of the nonsense and egregious propaganda coming out of the the non-existent ceasefire that people have been calling this of late. But yeah, the ongoing atrocities continue. We've been reporting on this for quite some time, trying to keep people aware. But this story goes on to talk about the targeting and the violations, including the identification of several armed terrorists who took over under debris of the yellow line adjacent to IDF troops, likely after exiting underground infrastructure in the area, is what the IDF was saying. Crossing the yellow line in the vicinity of the IDF troops while armed is an explicit ceasefire violation and demonstrates how Hamas systematically violates the ceasefire agreement with intent to harm troops. Again, I don't believe any harm from that has been reported as far as I've seen. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong on that one. But again, just to report what is in the news and what has been taking place. Yeah, that's a shame to see. Obviously, it's just fucking, again, with everything that we're dealing with here and with everything that's going on in Ukraine that we have to talk about. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I understand that people, consistently have to kind of check out and tune out for whatever period of time that you have to. If you have to take a couple days without watching the news, or if you take a couple days to yourself and get into a book, get into a show or a series or whatever, then take the time that you need. Take the time you need to keep your mental health strong. Make sure you're in the fight and ready to go. When we get closer to midterms, but take care of yourselves. I mean, I think that's an important aspect, especially with the egregious nature, the horrendous fucking atrocities that we continue to talk about. Again, whether it's the Epstein files, again, whether it's perpetrated by Russia, perpetrated here in this instance as well. It's tough to talk about. It's tough to continuously dive into, to stay involved. It really is. So I appreciate you guys. I commend you guys for doing so. I thank you guys for staying involved and staying committed to the defense of democracy, not only here but abroad. And it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference, as you guys have shown with the different campaigns that we're involved in. With just keeping this show running, you guys make a huge difference, and I want to congratulate you guys and make sure that that you make a big difference. But all right, on to the next story that I wanted to cover here, which was this one, which is a little bit of good news here, as dark and as demonic as it may sound. But the land of tyranny, how death of Putin's warlord pal, the butcher of Chechnya. Again, Ramzan Kadyrov, of the Kadyrovites, as we've talked about a lot on the show, not recently because of, again, his health struggles and how kind of out of the picture he's been of late. But this is a short video from The Sun kind of talking about the possible power struggle that could come from the death of Kadyrov here. So I just wanted to dive into this if I could. And then the next thing is the United 24 video that was put out this morning, which is pretty fucking cool, if I do say so myself, showing and depicting the Abrams in action in Pokrovsk, and again the ingenuity and effectiveness of the Ukrainian military above the Russian military. So that was put out this morning. Definitely want to dive into that. So I'm going to leave a little bit of time for that. But let's just dive into a little bit of this the Sun story, again talking about the health or the lack thereof from Ramzan Kadyrov and what it means. This guy, in case you haven't, let me throw this on the screen. This is the guy we're talking about, in case you're trying to put a face to the name. This is the Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov in his rapidly declining health. He's had some serious health problems going on for quite some time, and it looks like it's getting worse. Looks like we're coming to the end of that. So again, this is just a video kind of talking about what power struggles may come from within. Again, on top of the communications nightmares, on top of, the different, battlefield failures recently that Russia has seen, they got to be thinking about this as well. So let's dive into it. If I can, make this a little bit bigger on your screen if it works, and we'll dive right into it. I appreciate you guys.
Vladimir Putin could face a civil war as one of his closest allies is said to be at death's door. Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov, who has helped Putin maintain an iron grip over the Russian Republic and flushed out anti-Kremlin dissent, is reportedly suffering from chronic kidney failure and is having difficulty moving. He narrowly avoided death last December after being hospitalized during a trip to Moscow.
And again, this seems to be as well known. Excuse me.
Words and using.
Sorry, the controls are all fucked up. My apologies. But as well known as his kind of health issues and his health battles have been, this seems to be a pretty big change, because I believe he was just featured recently with, I forget the boxer's name, but I think a UFC fighter or a boxer just kind of went over there and was pictured and photographed with him. I'm not sure how long ago that was, but he was definitely up and around, whereas you just heard it was reported that he's having trouble even moving at this point right now. So again, that's even a big shift from whenever that last video went out, and that could be very well a piece of propaganda that was filmed and recorded a long time ago that was put out to make it seem like his health was in better status than it was. So again, you got to take it with a grain of salt, anything that comes from these people, but seems like the end is near for this son of a bitch.
A cane to walk. Kadyrov has previously hit back at claims over his declining health, on some occasions posting videos of himself in the gym appearing to be fit. He was described by Ukrainian intelligence as at death's door. Known for his flashy style and brazen attitude, the Putin attack dog has faced numerous allegations of human rights abuses throughout his tenure. His brutal regime has been accused of kidnapping journalists, torturing gay men, and encouraging honor killings of women who break strict dress codes. But if Kadyrov were to die,
again, adequately getting the nickname of the Butcher of Chechnya, you can tell by some of the crimes that we know he's committed, and the others that he's been alleged in as well. But again, this is, it goes on to talk about the kind of the power struggle that could come from within here.
Putin could face a civil war as suppressed groups come out of the shadows in a bid to take power. The Autonomous Republic has had a long history of Chechen separatism, and if the transition of power isn't clear or decisive, budding revolutionaries could exploit the brief window of opportunity. Eastern Europe expert Dr. Julie Wilhelmsen told me that the potential for social mobilization against the Kadyrov dynasty is big, while security analyst Emil
for social mobilization. Now, again, does this go hand in hand with the recent news, with the recent fucking app that the Russian government has put out to try to take the place of Telegram, which again, I believe was kind of the last social media platform that Russia had, to utilize at that to its extent. I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, VPNs and otherwise, there's other ways to get around it. But, on a wider basis, I do believe that was kind of the last kind of bastion that these people had. So to what extent they're trying to kind of curtail some of this civil unrest that may come from, again, the death of Ramzan Kadyrov or otherwise, right? I'm sure there's other aspects and different parties behind the scenes, nationalists, people that aren't happy with the movements or the lack thereof, the goals that have been attained by the Russian military. Like there are people that are wanting to see Putin removed because he hasn't gone far enough in Ukraine, right? As well as there are people that want to see him removed because they think he's gone well too far in Ukraine. The same thing. So he's battling these kind of different factions behind the scenes. And you can see he's trying to really kind of solidify his control over the power, especially as, social media is concerned in the put out of the recent, what's the name of the Russian platform? It's like Rox or Zot or something stupid that's trying to, again, they're trying to force everybody to use in terms of, again, in the place of YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, those things that have been widely utilized by not only by the Russian population, but by the Russian military as well. So as far as that's concerned, I find that to be good news, and we shall celebrate the day he takes his last breath. That's for goddamn sure. But what do you say we dive in so we can give it the ample time it deserves? This latest release here by United 24, the final stand of the Abrams in Pokrovsk. And again, this is a good depiction, an accurate depiction with some good insights into not only the strategy and effectiveness of the Ukrainian military, but how the Abrams are really being utilized on the battlefield. We've talked about it time and time again. It's not really a platform that is suitable for widespread use in this war. The maintenance, the teaching, soldiers how to not only maintain it, but how to maneuver it, how to utilize it, the ammunition, the fuel. I mean, everything. It's not really feasible to, on a large extent, just throw out a whole lot of A1s. Typically, as you'll hear here, they're used as kind of almost sacrificial lambs, as kind of being like these big, well-known targets out there, so that these other aspects of the military can kind of utilize the time spent with drones trying to attack the A1s, or held in the rear as kind of, artillery or last lines of defense, as that's kind of concerned. But here, this was again put out this morning. This is brand new, as my grandmother used to say, put out by United 24. Again, the final stand of the Abrams in Pokrovsk. And it also details further action as far as not very productive action by the Russian military. And again, the effectiveness of the Ukrainian military in response to these ongoing attacks. So let's say we dive into this. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Hit that like button. Really shows the platforms that you like and engage with what is going on this show. Sends it out to different people that may not have been sent this show out before. So I appreciate you guys and helping it in that regard. And thank you to everybody that's sharing the show. Thank you to everybody that's contributing to the show. Either it's Venmo, Patreon, Super Chat, Super Sticker, whatever it may be. Thank you to the mods as well. Appreciate you guys. Let's go. Slava Ukraine.
Late December 2025, Pokrovsk. An Abrams, as a part of a large column, fires on enemy positions. At the same time, drones and artillery suppress the enemy.
Not a place I'd want to be trapped.
Ukrainian infantry.
See that shit? That was a Russian trapped in an APC. Fuck. My controls. I want controls. Let me see if I can go back just a second. Here he is right here. This is not a place. Look at the fucking, this looks like an older, already well fucking beat up APC that maybe he's trying to find some refuge in, if I'm just trying to kind of, speculate just by this clip. Looks like it's kind of already been through the ringer and back again. And he just kind of hopped in there to try to get away from the drones, if I'm just kind of, like I said, speculating. But definitely not a place that I'd want to be trapped in under active fire. Not a great place.
PCs deploy Ukrainian infantry. An incredibly daring AFU operation begins. But let's step back a bit and break this down in more detail.
Please do. Okay, attention. Some of the scenes of this video, even reconstructions, are used with the additional use of generated footage, sound effects to visualize and explain the course of events to the viewer as accurately as possible. Understood.
To better understand this situation, we need to look at the map. The Ukrainian column is moving along this road. The main objective is to deploy infantry in this.
And of course, to anybody new, Pokrovsk should be no kind of new term, a new city. As far as this is concerned, we've been covering a lot of the actions in and around Pokrovsk, especially lately. So again, this is, you should be familiar with this portion of the map and this portion of Ukraine as far as this is concerned.
Area and secure it. If we look closely, we can see that this industrial zone is incredibly important. There are many buildings, basements, and warehouses here. If the Russians capture it, AFU soldiers will find themselves in a very bad position. And the Ukrainians understand this. A week earlier, the Russians carried out several large-scale attacks specifically to take control of this sector, and it happened right here. A column of tanks and APCs moved in for an assault along the road next to the tree line. Another group of soldiers prepared to attack on quad bikes, but in this case, the Ukrainians were one step ahead.
Fucking suicide mission, man. It's an absolute suicide mission to go in there on a quad bike. How they're getting their own soldiers to be like, yeah, you know what? We'll follow the tanks in. We'll follow the APCs in on a fucking quad. Well, you got drones and fucking artillery and shrapnel flying around, fucking machine guns, mortars. Yeah, you got to be fucking out of your tree.
Drones and artillery were ready. The column approaches. Let's take a look at how it looked from the cameras of Russian soldiers. They are riding on the top of the armor, unsuspecting.
And if I'm not mistaken, guys, and you guys may be able to correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I do believe this may be the same action, the same attack that we covered about a week or so ago, as far as when the footage came out of the Russians climbing and riding into battle on top of like a completely stripped down armored personnel carrier or a truck, and they were just completely exposed and out in the open, and it didn't go very well for them. I don't know if you guys will remember that or not, but this could be just some more footage. It seems like, because it ended up the same way with you know, no Russians kind of walking away from this as that other action took place.
A heavy machine gun fires into the tree line. The first drone locks onto the rear of one of the APCs and strikes. It's a precise hit. From the helmet camera, we can feel the impact through the screen.
This is from the Russian angle too.
A Russian soldier falls to the ground, trying to recover. More than a dozen drones launch toward the column. Ukrainian drone operators carefully select their targets. Meanwhile, the Russian APC is forced to stop, and the infantry dismount to take cover in the trees. The movement is very chaotic. Apparently, they do not understand what to do. And then, the next drone arrives. The pilot makes a drop. The munition lands directly on the APC.
It's crazy to get, like, we always talk about how fucking, you know, well photographed this war is. At some point, it's going to have to become the most fucking videotaped, the most photographed war of all time. I mean, if it hasn't hasn't, you know, taken that spot already. But to be able to kind of go through these battles, not only from the Ukrainian side, from multiple drone angles, but also from the Russian side of the same battle, for whether it's from body cams or GoPros or whatever it is, also posted and also captured by, you know, Ukrainian intelligence, or again posted directly by the Russians themselves. It's a wild thing to see. It really is.
Soldiers try to find any kind of cover, but nothing.
I mean, where are you gonna find cover in there? I mean, that's just not the place you want to be stuck out. That's just not the place you want to be without transportation.
Works. Another drone catches up with them.
Bye.
A soldier reports over the radio that they are under fire. At the same time, bomber drones join the attack. One of them hovers over the enemy and makes a drop.
Bye-bye.
The munition lands nearby. An infantryman tries to get up after the blast and reports that he is wounded, but he does not yet know that there is no one left to report to. At the same time, other bomber drones destroy the APC.
Damn.
Let's take a look at that again.
Good turret toss, and yes, I know there's no turret on that, but, you know, for lack of a better term, good turret toss.
Several precise drops turn an instrument of killing into a pile of metal. Concurrently, artillery opens fire on concentrations of motorcycles and quad bikes. First,
watch how accurate this artillery is, too. It's insane.
Cluster munition is fired. It completely covers the enemy. Take a look.
You can see the clusters going off.
sheer amount of force Ukrainian defenders collected at this point.
Jeez.
After that, the drones attack.
Смотри, он опять бежит к мотоциклу. Видишь его, да?
Да.
The enemy is destroyed. The remaining drones are used to finish off immobilized targets. First, a tank is destroyed.
Again, I'm pretty sure because this is the exact same way that the other, mission in kind of attack that we were kind of focusing on last week. I believe it was last week, ended for the Russians, ended in a very similar way where none of them walked away and no missions were accomplished whatsoever. They lost all their vehicles, all their quads, all their motorcycles, and all their men.
Then 2 APCs. Next, through the drone's camera, we can see the result of thorough...
So now, you can see why, as we've been talking about lately, that the Russians' tactics have, kind of changed slightly more towards the, smaller groups, smaller infiltrations over a longer period of time to try to build up a substantial force in order to create havoc or, do this or that or the other thing behind the lines. They've kind of, not totally, but they've given up on the whole, let's go in there with a lot of fucking armor. Let's go in there with a lot of fucking men and APCs and just get our asses blown out of the fucking street before we even make it to our objective, before we even get, to the battlefield in which we're striving to get towards. That's why we've heard of the change of tactics lately. And this is kind of, further evidence to suggest the effectiveness of the Ukrainian military against these type of attacks. You know what I mean? They just have they're too effective with the artillery. They're way too effective with the drones. Their ability to again spot you before you get even remotely close to getting to your objective and taking you out before you get to that objective is again top notch, second to none. As we continue to see, this was back in December, but still, again, this is again to a large extent what the Russians have been facing and seeing as far as these kind of full frontal armored assaults are concerned. This has kind of been the end result. Now, this goes on to talk about a little further of the Abrams involvement of this, if I can't.
Operation. The entire column is completely destroyed. Quad bikes, motorcycles, and armored vehicles are engulfed in flames. Such preparation, and only a single use of an Abrams in the attack I'm about to show, indicates only one thing. This industrial zone has extremely high strategic value, and the AFU are ready to fight for every millimeter of their land. They are fighting under very difficult conditions. Such courage and bravery deserves your support. Now, while the enemy had not yet recovered from the rout, it was necessary to act immediately. The task assigned to the Skala Battalion sounded almost impossible. Move along an open road, break into urban development, and drive the enemy out of fortified buildings.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that that area of Pokrovsk was kind of the last portion of the city being fought over. So you can see the kind of strategic significance of that industrial complex. And again, how, damaging it would have been at that time if the Russians were to, again, gain control of that stronghold. This is more of which they talk about the Abrams involvement in that battle. So here we go.
Not designed for combat in such conditions, so additional armor was installed on it. Reconnaissance drones conducted round-the-clock surveillance to determine where enemy firing positions and mines were located. And now, the time has come. Under the cover of fog, a Ukrainian column moves out.
Look at that thing. Look at that thing.
A tank with a mine-clearing trawl leads the way. Immediately behind it comes an Abrams.
I can stop it in time. I did not stop in time. Let's see if I can back it up just a second for you guys here, if I can. Is that right? There you go. You can see, the attachment in front of the tank there, in which is, it's made to roll over the mines, detonate the mines, so that the armored column behind them can pass without fear of running over the mines themselves. So you can see, kind of how he's leading the charge here, and you can see how effective it is because he does set off several mines in which could have easily taken out the following armor behind them. Check this out.
comes an Abrams and several APCs carrying infantry. Several dozen drones are also ready to strike.
Look at the size of that thing. You see how fucking big that thing is? I mean, I think a lot of people, when you think about a drone, you're thinking about like the smaller FPV, first person view drones where, they, you can barely get up, pick up a fucking, a can of milk, whatever it is. But these things, literally, you could hang on to the bottom of that. It'll pick your ass up, some of these things. It'll carry you from one place to another. It may not be able to do it for very long, but they're strong enough to do that in short bursts. You could, how substantial some of these drones are, the weapons systems and weapons platforms that have been attached to some of these things is again, would probably still blow the mind of people that are, not too heavily involved or haven't been following this too in-depthly.
The tactic is simple.
What was that? A tank round? A mortar round, for Christ's sake?
And bold. The Abrams stays out front. Its task is to be a big, loud, and intimidating target.
So you can see here how they're describing the Abrams. It's meant to be a big, loud, intimidating target, almost like the sacrificial lamb, right? While the other APCs, while the other armored vehicles can get in and maneuver and get into position, the Abrams is meant to be out there being like, okay, look at me, I'm big and bad. Here's my gun. I can kind of take the shots that you're going to take, that you're going to give back to me to a certain extent. So again, the way that they're being used, you can see the way that they're being utilized, as opposed to, again, sending in, mass brigades of Abrams.
Crossfire onto itself, diverting the enemy's attention away from the infantry. Here, we see the column approaching Pokrovsk. The tank with the mine-clearing trawl performs its primary mission. Pay attention to how many mines it destroys along the way. We see smoke from the first detonation. Only a couple hundred meters remain before entering the city. Another mine meets the Ukrainian column.
Another mine.
This is it here. Now all the obstacles are cleared, and the column bursts into the city.
And again, even those type of tanks, even those tanks have their history derived from World War II. Like the Funnies. You guys ever heard of the Funnies, the tanks that were utilized on D-Day? Some of them had, chains that whipped around that were basically meant to do the same thing, explode, mines or, any hidden ordinances in the ground. They had ones that rolled out, mats so that the tanks could get over the sand so that it didn't sink into the sand. There was ones that had, bridges built into them, and the fucking arms would come out and they could go into, artillery craters or shell craters, and then they could deploy their ramps so that the vehicles and the trucks and the tanks could go over the top of them, and that the ditch or the pit wouldn't be an obstacle. There was a whole bunch of them created by a British inventor there called the Funnies. And a lot of this is derived specifically from that. A lot of the technology that you're talking about, which is still crazy to think about, is derived specifically from some of those, thoughts, inventions, problems that they had to face. So, pretty cool how even, modern technology, even modern warfare has its history derived from these battles a long time ago, from these great innovators from World War I, World War II, even before that. The history guy in me it's always really fascinating to see that, as much as we've evolved, the ideas are similar. The goals are the same. Don't let these bombs blow up our people. Let's blow them up before they can blow up our people. What's the best way to do that? So again, I love the history aspect of it, as brutal and as dark as these times and moments are, to think about, the lives that have been saved because of these innovations are, exponential at this point.
Of course, the Russians came to their senses. They launched their drones into the air, and the infantry begins moving to more advantageous positions. A Ukrainian APC blankets everything around with fire, not allowing the enemy to raise their heads. The Abrams moves a bit further forward. Let's pause at this moment. Here, there is a gas station. The first part of the plan is to deploy infantry near it and clear the area. At the same time, the Abrams must draw all attention to itself and provide cover with its high explosive shells. Everything goes exactly according to plan. The infantry dismount and begin the assault. They must act swiftly. Their lives depend on it. At the gas station, they encounter the enemy and eliminate them.
Забарановый. Прием. 200.
And the Abrams methodically dismantles their fortifications. Inside the tank, work is in full swing. The crew operates as a single mechanism. The loader rams shell after shell into the breach. At this moment, the Abrams takes its first drone hit while performing its main task. But take a look at the crew.
This is funny. They actually take a drone hit to the Abrams, directly to the Abrams, and they turn around like, what was that? Did you fart? What was that? Did you cough? Did you cough? Did you burp? They don't even know that they were hit by something. Check this out.
But take a look at the crew's reaction inside. They don't even realize they've been hit.
The guy's like, what was that? What was that? A bump? Speed bump? What the fuck was that? We didn't feel a thing.
Reconnaissance detects the movement of Russian soldiers. They run to the nearest cover and try to hide.
And again, it's still so crazy. It's still so crazy to see this from both, both angles, from both objectives. You know what I mean? From the fucking Russian side and the Ukrainian side. Same battle, same fucking ordnances being dropped, same fucking bullets being shot, just from both sides of this fucking battle. Again, it's mind blowing to get this in-depth look, this coverage of it.
Ukrainian pilots react instantly to the threat and launch drones into the air. Time for a strike. The threat has been eliminated. At headquarters, the work of the infantry is constantly adjusted. The gas station is cleared, and the commander orders movement towards the stele with the inscription Pokrovsk.
I haven't seen the end of this. I'm curious if the Abrams makes it out. You know what I mean? I mean, being the sacrificial lamb, being the big loud target here, I'm curious if it makes its way out of this all right. Seems like it should, considering it just seemingly they just announced that they eliminated the last of the defenders there. So I don't see why it wouldn't, but I'm curious to see if it rolls its way out of here after a successful mission.
But where is the Abrams? We see all of the infantry shifting positions.
Did they lose it?
The tank has disappeared. Panic begins at headquarters.
Is it gone? Did it get hit?
No one understands where it went. Meanwhile, the Abrams, in order to provide maximum security for the assault group, has moved even deeper forward.
Oh shit, they were like, fuck it. We even had enough yet. We want to go find some more. This thing's fun and powerful. It's got a big ass gun on it. Let's go find some more of these fucking infiltrators. Let's go find some more of these invaders. So they're even deeper into enemy territory. I love it. Even further. The guys, you see the guys at the headquarters like, where the fuck did the tank go? Where are they going? What's happening here? They're already deep halfway in the city, still taking down buildings. Look at them.
Taking advantage of this, Ukrainian infantry safely moves from cover to cover, clearing building after building. But they are not the only ones taking advantage of it. Russian drones are already flying towards their main target. And here it is. Another precise hit on the Abrams.
Oh, that's two hits on the Abrams.
Let's watch that again. The crew fires off the remaining ammunition
functioning
and abandons the immobilized tank to save their
lives. It's immobilized.
Lives. The Abrams itself is left to be torn apart by enemy drones. Even in such difficult situations.
And again, just shows the cost ratio there, and how not effective it would be, how it doesn't make sense logistically, how it doesn't make sense financially to use the Abrams in on a wide basis like that. Again, not only the maintenance we talk about, not only the ability to utilize the movement of it and being able to control it, and having to teach the people on a large scale how to do it. But even the fact that cheap drones nowadays have changed warfare to such an extent where even the Abrams out there, and to a large extent, it can do its job, and to a large extent, it can take the hits. But at some point, it's going to be overwhelmed by drones that are undoubtedly a lot fucking cheaper, a lot less expensive to operate, and a lot less expensive to utilize. So, I mean, even this one, as well as it did its job at taking fire, distracting the enemy, and allowing the infantry and allowing the other armored personnel to go in there and get its job done. Like even the Abrams didn't make it off the battlefield, right? Even these people had to abandon it. They expended the last of its ammo. The gun was still working, but as far as being able to get itself out of there, you're a sitting duck at that point. You know what I mean? Even the powerful, and well-known Abrams.
Ukrainian officers show time and time again that human lives are more important than even such special weapons as an Abrams tank. At the same time, Ukrainian command orders the remaining vehicles to withdraw. Mission accomplished. The area has been cleared. The infantry have secured their positions. The AFU gained a favorable sector for force buildup, and the Russians gained yet another topic for their propaganda.
Again, just one of these small pieces of evidence to, again, utilize and to show and to highlight the effectiveness of the Ukrainian military against the Russians. This is, again, just a small piece. This is from December 2025 in Pokrovsk. Just kind of depicting the utilization and how the Abrams tank is being utilized on the battlefield, above and beyond what we thought, what we had first kind of had in our minds, and how it was going to be utilized and how much of a game changer it was going to be. Then we all got to thinking of that aspect, this aspect, and how it doesn't really make sense logistically. They're at least being utilized to some extent out there in being able to save lives, take back territory. Again, take out the invaders, take out the enemy to whatever aspect. Again, defense, artillery, it could be used for still. So those things, definitely seeing it being utilized as, but good work done here by United 24 in putting together these videos to kind of highlight the situation on the front lines. We'll continuously dive into those and look at those. But yeah, a lot of things that, still need to be talked about, that still need to be found out, that we need to continuously be loud and proud about, considering how right we were on these topics and how much of these freaks and assholes are on the list that we were saying were going to be on the list. Again, from the message being sent here by Marjorie Taylor Greene to MAGA, Marjorie Taylor Greene to Donald Trump, and just how far down again they are, and how much they're being kicked, and how stupid they look, and how much they're not going to be able to get away with the defense and the obfuscation and the cover-up that they're now engaged in. Again, look no further than the people that are continuously talking about it, whether it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Anna Paulina Luna, Thomas Massey. The wildfire has spread too far at this point. People know far too much. Too much has come out. Too many actions have already started. The snowball has already started down the hill in other places outside of the United States, I should say. And we just need to see some justice and accountability start taking place in the United States. And well, at least demanding of accountability and justice here in the United States, because we're unlikely to see it while Donald Trump is at the helm, while Pam Bondi, while Todd Blanche, while Kash Patel, and while the rest of these sycophants are in the places and leading the agencies that they're leading. We need to demand accountability, and unlike Jamie Raskin in his answer with the Legal Eagle, we need to keep telling the people and assuring the people that we're going to demand these court cases, demand these actions that we're required to do under the law, that these people definitely lied under oath, that they're definitely engaged in corruption, that they were definitely engaged in criminal and illegal acts as far as skirting the laws and rules and regulations of Congress, as far as acts of war. All of it needs to be talked about. All of it needs to be continuously brought up again, whether we're just highlighting the different decrepit, soulless individuals that are speaking about it nowadays, and how much this should show, again, the Trump administration, how far down they are on the scoreboard. Because again, she's got multiple different aspects out there. And again, not to just utilize Marjorie Taylor Greene, but again, people like Thomas Massey, these different documentaries now that are popping back up on social media, whether it's this one here from BBC about Donald Trump and his past allegations, the past stories that we've known about him for quite some time that have been out there. But again, no flowers, no empathy, no sympathy for the people that are seemingly coming out of the fog, because all of this information was out there for long enough. This was widely known, the affiliations, the relationships between these people, where you, again, should at the very least, be like, yeah, this probably isn't going to be politically expedient at some point, right? We should probably worry about this. And again, as Marjorie Taylor Greene calling this the most problematic political calculation of Donald Trump's career, I think she's kind of spot on in that regard as well. But what do you say we get on to thanking a few people? Might even get you guys out of here a couple minutes early today, so you can enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, doing whatever makes you happy. Because I know a lot of this stuff is heavy. A lot of this stuff is hard to digest. A lot of this stuff is hard to continuously take in and day out. And again, I just want to make sure that I show you guys the appreciation that you guys deserve, give you guys the recognition that you deserve on, again, continuously staying involved, continuously staying informed in all of this, so that we can make the best decisions come time midterms, come time general election. We have the best arguments. We have the best evidence to put forward. And again, we have the best fucking policies and the best answers to give the American people that they're now demanding as far as accountability, as far as walking these people down the fucking, the walkway of justice, making sure the people that lied to our faces, lied to Congress, lied to the people are held accountable, making sure the people that stole from the government, that are now actively responsible for the deaths of people that can't get the health care, or because of the funding that was cut to, I don't know, cancer research into children, or any one of the things that we can continuously talk about, that we have evidence to put on the list right now, that we're going to say, hey, once we take back power, this person, that person, that person, and that person are definitely going to answer for their crimes, that we have evidence right here and show it on the fucking screen to prove that they did this, that, or the other thing. So, it would be prudent upon these Democratic politicians to have these answers ready to go, like a gun in the holster, baby. Have these things ready to rock and roll and fire off at any moment in time on any podcast, any interview, because that's what the people are demanding. That's what the people want. They want action. They want action. And people, as far as, that are politically kind of involved, understand the power dynamics inside of the government and kind of how far, the hands are tied and how much we're handcuffed because of that political power. But the question wasn't about what can we do right this second. The question was about what are we going to do if and when we take back both houses, if and when we take back, the presidency, the House and the fucking Senate. That's when we will have the power. So that's when you can't be, held back by these, oh, well, unfortunately, we don't have the House, we don't have the Senate, we don't have the presidency. No. This is when you do have the power. This is when you can enact more action and accountability for these people and to take them to task. So have those fucking answers ready. Again, appreciate what you've been doing on a lot of other aspects, and that's not a critique or to say that you shouldn't like or follow or get behind anything that Jamie Raskin is saying. That'd be ridiculous. It's just a small critique that I have as far as answers that Democratic politicians could be giving in order to, again, hit home with the American people, to be like, okay, that's what I want. That's what I want to hear. That's what I'm going to vote for. And I think it would be, again, like I said, prudent upon us to demand better answers of these politicians, especially with the seriousness, the importance in the moment that we're in. I don't think that's too much to ask. I don't think that's too much to call out. I don't think that's above below the belt by any stretch of the imagination to talk about. I really don't. So what do you say we get into thanking some people? First and foremost, as we always do, let's head over to Venmo, see if anybody was kind enough to shoot over a buck or two on there. If so, I'd like to say thank you, and I'd like to shout you out if I can. Yes, we do. Oh, thank you so much, guys. You guys are unbelievable. You really are. I can't thank you guys enough. It shocks me every time I stick my face in front of this camera and something goes wrong technologically, as far as, what my, I don't know, my weaknesses are in technology. But thank you so much for you guys supporting day in and day out. I really can't thank you enough. Laurie, thank you so much for the 25 on Venmo. That is huge and hugely appreciated at the same time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Thomas. He says, miss yous, let's fucking go. Thank you so much for your contribution on Venmo. Jenny Faye, there you are, dear. I hope you're well. Hope you're recovering nicely. We're thinking about you here at Blunt Politics. Hope you're doing well. Great show as always, Brian. Hello and hugs to Kelly, Pops, and the whole family from Indiana, Gimp and her hubby. Thank you so much. And again, like I said, if you guys need anything, please reach out. Let me know. I'd be more than happy to contribute to the recovery process. So thank you, Jenny Faye, for contributing. As always, thank you for watching, even under duress. Even under duress. But thank you so much, Damon, as well, for your contribution. Which beard brush do you recommend? LOL. Inquiring beards want to know. Which one is this? This one is Carelax. I don't know what that means. I don't know who they are. But that's the one I got. Again, we don't give any ads. We don't give any promotions. We don't hide anything behind a paywall. Obviously, we're joking around here. So again, that's the that's the beard brush I use, Dame, in case you're wondering. But thank you for your contributions, my brother, as always. Thank you so much to Roger as well. Thank you, Roger. Roger says down payment for lunch this week. I can do most days. Let me know. I have my truck and I'm driving you. Pick your favorite lobster roll. I don't eat seafood. I'm a bad New Englander as far as that's concerned. But we'll pick a different place. We'll pick a nice pizza place or something. So thank you, brother. Thank you, Jeffrey, as well for the 420. Appreciate you as well. Was that the same one? Did I just read? Did I click on the wrong one? I did click on the wrong one. Roger sent the 5 in from Roger and Karen, so I apologize. Jeff sent that other one in. my apologies. I clicked the wrong one. So thank you, Jeff, for the 420 as well. And then we'll have to hop over here to the kind and generous people on YouTube for their generosity. Started off with Bobby Slacks. Let's go fucking Slacks. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the 10. Shout out to you. He says, Slavo Kanini. Love to you, brother. Love to all the Bryantologists. Right back at you, my friend. As always, thank you so much for your loyalty, for your viewership, for your generosity. Thank you for the appreciation and the kind words. As always, hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a good weekend. What's up, B-Man? What's happening, my brother? Thank you for being here for 8 months. Let's fucking go. Very much appreciate you. Thank you so much. Say hi to you and your pup for me. Appreciate you as always, B-Man. Hope you're having a good weekend. Bobby Slacks back in the joint. Let's go. What's up with Raskin's hand? Weird looking. I did not notice. Just on the response, I apologize, but I'll see if I can go back and take a look. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I appreciate you and the 5, Bobby Slacks, as well. Thank you so much as always. Hope you're having a good weekend. Thank you, Colleen. You guys are amazing. Can't thank you enough for your generosity. For a big bottle of Pepto for the nausea this must be causing you. Thank you for your hard work. Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this the other day, like the toll that this takes on a lot of people. It's why I continuously bring up the aspects of, taking time for your mental health. Take a day or two off of the news cycle, take a day or two off of the podcast, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? It's probably, against my better judgment of, or probably against my better favorability of saying to take a couple days off of the podcast. But I really want you guys to be able to stick through this. I want you to be at your tip-top shape when come times for the midterms, when come time for the general election. And whatever that takes. If you guys need to go for a couple runs, watch a couple movies, read a couple books, have a couple nights out with your friends and your family, then I recommend you do all of that, whether it's sports or whatever, entertainment, whatever that may be. Take time for you and yourself. Keep your mental health right. Make sure you're coming in and staying strong for the fight that inevitably lays in front of us. So again, I appreciate you, Colleen. Thank you so much. And absolutely, I appreciate you for recognizing how difficult it is to continuously sift through these different articles. Something's playing in my ear. Stop. Pause. Thank you. And I promise I will figure out why the keyboard and the mouse isn't working before the next show. That's something I'll have to do. But thank you, Colleen, very much. I appreciate you as always. Let's see who's next. Colleen, Karen. Thank you so much, Karen, for becoming a new YouTube member. Very much appreciate you and you two pretty kitties. Say hi to the kitties for me. Make sure they get some catnip from the Blunt Politics podcast. No, I appreciate you, Karen. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Thank you so much to JD as well for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Shockey, for everything that you do. Power to the people. And then some things that don't show up on StreamYard for some reason, but I'm going to say that's a Ukrainian salute. I'm going to say that's a Statue of Liberty. And then I'm going to say that's U.S. pride in the LGBTQIA, which we heavily endorse and support here, Shockey. Very much appreciate you, brother. Thank you, JD, again for the super sticker. Going down the list here of showing appreciation. Thank you, Masha, for everything that you do, for the 10, for lack of engagement. Love you, Boston Brian Mods, Bryantologist chat. Thought I was prepared for breast cancer treatment. Not going to get through it. Just wish I had living family left. Fuck cancer. Oh, Masha, I'm so sorry. We're right there with you. And I know that only goes so far, and I know we can only do so much, and I know at this point it's only words, but if there's anything you need, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, or I'm sure anybody else in the chat here. If you need anybody to talk to, if you need any encouragement, if you need to blow off any steam, whatever it may be, you're absolutely not alone, and you absolutely will get through it. And I definitely second the fuck cancer. So again, if we can in some way kind of not take the place, but if we can somehow kind of fill the role, fill the void of people that you need to talk to, or having people to kind of reach out to. Would love to be there for you, Marsha. Thank you so much for your contributions. Totally not necessary, especially somebody that's going through as much as you're going through right now. So I deeply, deeply appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your kind words. And like I said, we're right there with you, Marsha. Very much appreciate you. Good luck with everything. Thank you, Thanos, for the 2. This goes towards a new mouse. I think the mouse is all right. I must have clicked a button. This is definitely user error. Definitely 100% on my end. For some reason, I think I clicked something up the top. I did like a whole left click, right click, F7 type of deal. I'm not sure. I'm making that up as I go. But I did something. It's definitely something that I did on my end. So, again, I'm not blaming the equipment. It's just why it's happening, I couldn't tell you. Maybe if I hold it down, if I double click it, the center mouse. No, but I definitely did something. Definitely use error as this is concerned. So I appreciate the 2, though, to go right in the swear jar, but I don't think it's the equipment. I don't think it's the equipment. I take the blame on that one. Right hand up accountability on that one. Thank you, Jimbo. Fuck. I did it again. I'm sorry, Jim. I know you don't like being called that. I slip into nicknames. It's my apologies. Something I got to work on. I'm just a big nickname guy. So I can't think of a better one at this point for Jim, but my apologies. Thank you for being here for 21 months. Nice weather, but winter isn't over, says the groundhog. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hopefully that weather's going to get nice. I'm looking to get back out in the on the course. So hopefully it warms up sooner than later. But thank you, Jim. Very much appreciate you. And my apologies on the old nickname that I know you don't like. I'll recognize it at some point. Only going to take 3 or 4 years. Thank you, Yakov, for the 5. Shout out to you, my brother. Pops, have a great weekend ahead of the Bruins. Have a great weekend ahead, excuse me. And then he names at Bruins, and then he names at some of the great mods that we have here. Happy birthday, Tiff. We love you. Have a great week. No, that's not today. That's not today. Don't make me seem like I missed it. I know it's a Monday. And I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow, Monday. So again, let's not jump the gun here. All right. Everybody gets their 24 hours. Let's not go overboard here with 24 hours plus. But no, I'm kidding. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And definitely a warm welcoming and a big thank you to all the mods, and a big thank you to Tiff in particular. Happy birthday, Tiff. We do hope you have a great week. I do believe the birthday is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But happy birthday, Tiff. Hope everybody's reaching out, shouting out happy birthday. And we'll have to, we don't have a show tomorrow. That's why. I get you. No show tomorrow. So that's the problem. That's going to be an issue. That's probably why we should absolutely get the happy birthdays out right now. So happy birthday, Tiff. I thought of that first. Yakov definitely didn't remind me to say that. I was the one that reminded him. He'll tell you that, I'm sure. Anyways, thank you, and happy birthday again, Tiff. We hope you have a great day. Sorry we don't have a show tomorrow so we can celebrate it on the day, but you can be sure I'll be reaching out to you. So thank you, Yakov, for thinking about that. And again, happy birthday, Tiff, to you. Thank you for everything that you do in the chat. Thank you so much to Ruben as well. Another great show, Brian. Thank you for the 2. Very much appreciated, my brother. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Same thing with Candy. What's up, Candy? How are you? 4-day thaw. Got to go clean up the dog shit swamp in the backyard. Happy Sunday, folks. That's the problem. Not only do you get, you get the hit when the snow comes down, but then you get when the melt comes too. Everything gets a little bit messy. So, Candy, I feel for you. I hope you do well out there. Hopefully it doesn't take you too long. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for your contributions today. Much appreciated. Hope you have a good weekend. Hope it's a little better than what you're going through now, at least. Thank you, Allie, for all that you're doing as well. Thank you for being here for a member for 9 months. Let's fucking go. Got my water back on yesterday. Appreciate that. Let's fucking go. Hot showers all around. We're going to celebrate the small victories here at Blunt Politics. We're always celebrating the small victories. So, Allie, good to hear. Thank you for being here for 9 months. Good to see you. Hope you have a great weekend. Thank you to all of you guys. I'm going to go try to figure out what button I pressed and why none of the controls are working as they're typically supposed to work. Again, definitely user error. Definitely probably a 1-button fix that I don't know about. So I'll be off to try to do that. And I will see you guys Tuesday for the Tuesday show. Make sure you hit the notification bell. It will just alert you when we go live, when we put out a short, when we do a video, whatever it may be. It just lets you know when we put out some content so that you guys don't have to be always searching and scrolling and making sure that you're on top of things. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe on the way out. If you're not already subscribed and haven't liked the live already, it goes a long way again in showing the YouTube gods and the gods on all of these social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, that you guys are engaged and like what you're seeing. And hopefully it then takes that information and shares it out to people that wouldn't normally have seen the show. That's kind of what we're aiming at. So appreciate you guys. I will see you Tuesday again for the Tuesday show. Hope you guys are staying loud, staying proud, and staying goddamn aggressive out there, because we have the facts. in reality on our side, and the cover-up is now in the government being engaged in and perpetrated by Donald Trump. And again, we have to continuously call this out. Unfortunately, it does get darker and more sickening by the day. But we're going to be here to cover it all, sickening or not. It's all extremely important right now. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Thank you guys for dealing with the difficult topics. It really is. It is appreciated, and I want to make sure that I recognize you guys for being the fighters that you are. So I appreciate you guys. The resistance is strong, and it's only because of your help. It's only because of your contributions that we are as strong as we are here. So I appreciate it. We're on a roll to 20,000 subscribers. If you could help us get there, it would be very much appreciated. And again, reach out. So, do whatever you can, whether it's Venmo or PayPal or fucking whatever, Patreon, whatever it is. Because otherwise, there's nothing hidden behind a paywall. There's nothing that we charge for. So it's all with your help and generosity that we can get there. So I'm out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much to the mods. Thank you so much to everybody watching. And I'll see you Tuesday. All right. And I can see now the whole screen is just so small. This is, if you guys can see this right now, boy, oh boy, would you be laughing at me. All right. I'm out of here. I appreciate you guys. I think it's this one. Nope, we're not going out like that. We're not going out like that. What'd I miss? Hold on, Tiff. Where are you? What'd I miss? Are you not showing up in there? Because I'm not seeing what y'all sending me. For reals. For reals. Are you like hidden? Are you blocked? Are you blocked in the chat? Let me go. Hold on. I'm going through them all here. Oh no, there you are. I lied. I'm sorry. How do I miss that one? How the hell did I miss that one? All right. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all that you do. Happy goddamn birthday to you. How I continuously miss these, I'm not sure. I did it last week and had to apologize as well. Told you I wouldn't do it again, and here we are, back in the same saddle. I'm sorry. She says, love Brian. February, happy birthday wishes to us all. Again, everybody having a birthday in February. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. But more specifically, happy birthday to you, Tiff. Thank you for everything you do, sticking by us through everything. You have been absolutely fantastic, and we can't thank you enough. So appreciate you. Thank you for not only being here for 19 months, but for everything you do behind the scenes as well. So appreciate you. Happy birthday. I wasn't going out like that a second time. I was not going out like that. So I had to come back, as I always do. All right, I'm out. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And sorry. I just wanted to make it really special. That's what I was doing. I didn't miss it. I just wanted to save it for the end. Best for last. You know, Tiff. You know how it goes. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you Tuesday. Pops. Love you, big guy. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. It would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel as well. On our way to 20K. Thank you, Taki. Appreciate you, man.
a thought, grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
About to officially name the undisputed, when did this come out? We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. The undisputed champion of beautiful, clean coal. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. God bless the United States. For miners, do we love miners? I love miners.
I mean, they've been conserved since the time of lobsters, right? There weren't trees around when lobsters first manifested themselves on the planet.
We're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat
I said bud, I said crud. You falling asleep crud or something?
No, thank you, Petrazi. Thank you, Bigly Jackass. Great name. Love it. Couldn't have it any other way. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you again, Tim. Happy birthday. You have a great day. Thank you, Intune. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, West. As always, see you guys again on the 24th, I believe, next Zoom. Appreciate that. As always.
For miners, do we love miners? I love miners. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable, I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
White people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones. Is there anything worse than white people?
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know.
Go fuck yourself.
All right, guys. I'll see you Tuesday. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Gamer. Thank you so much, everybody else. Can't thank you enough for all your help. No, peace. Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you so much. There's a button here that I can push that I can find. It's here somewhere.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
What uranium is, right? This thing called nuclear weapons and other things, like lots of things are done with uranium, including some bad things.